One love, God bless. Fire Nelson here, and I'm here to tell you about why I started to read the Bible. So, like a lot of people, I never really thought I was gonna be one to read the Bible from cover to cover. You know, right now I'm at Corinthians, so I'm not completely done, but I have like 60 pages left maybe. But like I said, I never thought I'd be the type to read the Bible from cover to cover. But during my spiritual journey, I started to want to fast and cleanse my body. And when Ramadan came around, I decided that I was going to, utilize that energy of over billions of people fasting and raising their vibrations and being better individuals. I was going to use that vibration and chose to fast during Ramadan, and as well incorporate some of their, cultural, restrictions and stuff like this that are normal with Ramadan into my own fast. And I actually got a vast amount of benefits from doing this. I made a video about it earlier, but I got a vast amount of benefits from doing this fast and stopping from no drinking of anything, no eating of anything until sundown. From the time you get up until sundown, you don't eat, you don't drink, you don't gossip, you don't curse, you don't, do a lot of things. You just live, you just live, you still, do everything you would normally do throughout the month. And you just kind of have a more mindfulness about you and a more patience about you, because you're feeling light, because your body is light, your mental is light, and you're trying to be spiritually light, where you're more of a kind person and you're not trying to, fall into anger or any negative types of ways. So you're feeling different, and it's only something that can be described if you actually go on the journey of yourself. It doesn't have to be during Ramadan. You can do a 2-week fast or a 30-day fast and just use the same type of disciplines that Ramadan uses into your fast. But you really do feel a difference. And then from that difference, and from one of the also aspects of Ramadan is you give back. You give back to the community as much as you can. Not in a crazy way. You don't give all, your whole bank account away. But if you have some, give some. Help the next man if you see someone in need. So I started giving back more than I usually would, instead of thinking so much in lack. And I realized how great that felt, even if no one's around. It's not about you doing something and people having to see it or you having to tell somebody. It's about the connection between you and that person, helping that person out. So I'm gonna get to the work where the Bible comes in, but just hold on, because this is a big part of it. So with that generosity that I started gradually building up within me, that I didn't really have as much before, I really started to just kind of have more respect for the outlay of how Ramadan is portrayed. I've never really been a big person into the Muslim religion or anything like this, but I always like to look at different religions and take aspects from them that seem to touch my heart or touch my soul in a way that seems like a divine truth, or something that correlates with a calling of mine. And this just happened to be one of them. So another thing that Muslims typically do during Ramadan is they read the Quran. So I didn't really feel in my soul, my heart, that the Quran right now for me was something that I really wanted to read into. But for some reason, the Bible was calling me. Some reason in my head, I said, if I'm not going to read the Quran during Ramadan, I need to read something, because I feel something. Like, just from doing the actions and living this fast life, not the fast life, the crazy life. That's what I was living before. But now I'm living a life, of fasting and prayer, I really felt the difference, and I wanted to try to pick up more habits of, what the people did during Ramadan. So I got the Bible and wanted to start there. I probably will still read the Quran and the Torah. I'm going to also read the Gospel of the Holy 12, the Book of Enoch. I want to read a lot of spiritual books, But when I picked up the Bible and started reading the Bible, it really changed my spiritual journey and, kind of fast forwarded, pushed it even more. It was really interesting. From the first page, I was hooked, I couldn't really understand. Now looking back, I couldn't really understand everything, the first few months, and I probably didn't understand even longer than that, like truly everything as I do now. But that's the beauty of the Bible. It's of course a book that's been rewritten a crazy amount of time. So there's a lot of things that might not make sense or might not actually be complete truths and this and that, but the divine truths that you feel, the divine wisdom that you feel when you read the Bible is something that is unlike any other book, it gives you a faith that's different than any other book that is, real or fake, it has that mysterious, that mysticism, about it, where it's like we don't know, and that's where the faith lies. Like the Bible is so powerful that it's one of the only books pretty much where we are in the middle about, where we aren't 100% sure if it's real, we aren't 100% sure if it's false. It really is crazy. But lots of times, when you're reading through the Bible and you get into these stories, and you really do get yourself hooked, and it's not as boring as you think once you really start to understand and read these. Like the first round of me reading the Bible, where I'm almost done now, it took about, 2 years, maybe a year and a half, because I was reading it really slow at first, only a verse here, a verse every day or something like this, a couple verses. But now I really just read it. But when I was first reading the Bible compared to now, it's going to be a whole different way of reading it the next time I read it. I'm going to take a break from it after I finish it. Of course, I'm not going to just go right back into it. I mean, you can if you want to, but there's so much other knowledge. Yeah, I love reading, so there's other books that I'm really anxious to read, but this is a book I really wanted to finish because Ramadan, just ended, because I continue to do Ramadan even after the first fast, because now I just do it every year, just because it builds that discipline, it builds that, those beauty, those miracles that inspire you to do things like this, and that help guide you and be closer to the Most High. So yeah, I'm almost done with the Bible now, but the reason why I stuck with it is because even through the Old Testament, which is very, very long, and I would like to say the Old Testament is quite the metaphor for society now, where we only focus, like this whole Bible, the New Testament is like this, like that much, maybe this much, and then this rest is the Old Testament. So yes, of course, you go to church and they focus mainly on the New Testament, but everywhere else, it's the Old Testament. It's people focusing on the negatives, the people that have done wrong in their bloodlines, the people that keep on sinning again and again. Oh, Israel, we keep giving you so many chances. This is us. We are Israel. We are the Gentiles. We are these people that, God, the Most High, is giving multiple chances, and we keep on sinning through this bloodline, through this bloodline, through this person, wherever it goes. But this is a story again and again in the Old Testament, and there's lots of great stories in the Old Testament, like Moses and Noah and David and Solomon, Psalms. There's tons of great stuff in the Old Testament, tons of great wisdom in the Old Testament. But the Old Testament is kind of really dramatic compared to the New Testament. The New Testament has so much inspiration and so much real deep metaphors that the Old Testament didn't only really gave you sporadically, and that's what's so beautiful about the Bible is you have to go through this journey in life. The first half of life is the Old Testament. It's a beautiful thing. You don't have to be religious. You don't have to be this and that to read the Bible. But I recommend everybody read the Bible. And the original reason why I wanted to read the Bible is to help understand man more, how they think, because this is what society is truly based off. The Bible is what, unfortunately, we are colonized under, these supposed laws. This is what man truly fears, So, yes, it's been manipulated in many ways. But if we know the real law, if we know the real truth, then we can operate in this world much better. Because these truths in the Bible that you will find when you start reading you have to get past the Old Testament and into the New Testament to really find the truths. There's some hard truths in the Old Testament, but they're questionable, The New Testament has some more true truths, and they leave out certain other things that the Old Testament, mentioned, and it gives the impression that the New Testament is the new way to be looking at things, because we're not sacrificing anymore in the New Testament. So why would these other supposed sins come along with it if, Jesus said very flat out that these are the things that you will not be graced by God for. So we have to realize the world is like this. Our first half of our life is the Old Testament, where we go through all these things. We meet all these different people. There's names. This is the Old Testament. Names. You see names. Esau begot Jacob. Jacob begot, all these different things, and we're sacrificing ourselves here and there. We're doing all these stupid things. And then we get into the New Testament is when we start to wake up and realize, oh my gosh, I've been living crazy this whole time. Thank you, God, for saving me. Thank you for waking me up, And sometimes it takes a very long time for people to wake up and get into that New Testament phase in their life. So I recommend reading the Bible to help push that along, because even if you go into the Bible being a skeptic, if you at least have an open mind, you will see, It says, those with eyes, let them see. Those with ears, let them hear. And there's so many just random truths and just beautiful messages in the Bible. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones. It be telling you wisdom in certain poetry in certain ways that, it's obvious wisdom, but it's something that is so concrete when it's said in the way that they say it, that you're like, this is something that's been known for 3,000 plus years. This is something that's a universal truth for 3,000 plus years, and now we have physical evidence and everything, but you still want to walk around negative. You don't want to have a merry heart You're still carrying all this stress, and it's drying up your bones and shortening your life. This is what they're saying. Like, and this universal truths like this. I just opened a random page. I'm opening another random page just to give you one more. For whosoever, I love this one. For whosoever will save his life shall lose it, and whosoever will lose his life for my sake shall find it. For what is a man profited if he shall gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Or what shall a man give in exchange for his own soul? This is something that was written 3,000 years ago. Yes, lots of stuff has been rewritten in this and this and that, but at this point, when they're saying stuff like that, who cares? That right there is a universal truth. Some of the other stuff you'll be able to pick and choose and see what isn't truth, but that, who cares? They could have rewritten that whatever how they wanted to, but that, man, this is what's going on in the world right now. People want to think that they are the celebrities, they are the idols, and then they just lose their soul. They lose in touch with the whole mission. Nobody's even caring about the homeless and the people that are actually in need and actually getting their actual hands dirty and showing people the actual way. You know what I mean? People in these Hollywood Hills have these giant houses and no garden. And if they do have a garden, there'll be maybe an orange tree and a grapefruit tree. That's it. They ain't even growing their own food. They're not even, and if they were growing any food, they're not even the ones actually harvesting it. They're hiring, people to do that. It's crazy. The American dream is false. These people aren't even occupying their houses as much as they like to make you think. It's just a big empty house. Who wants to gain the world but lose their soul? There ain't no soul in this house. That is what is going on right now. We have to realize us treating each other in the ways that Jesus treated each and every one of his disciples and everybody. He would bless anybody. It doesn't matter if it was the Sabbath. It doesn't matter if he was washing his disciples' feet. He did it. He did it without people even asking. He just served. Once we all get into this mind state, we don't even have to go as far as washing others' feet, but just being nice to each other. Why don't we just stop killing? Is that really that hard? Let's just all say, let's stop killing, because it's a sin. We aren't the ones to judge. There's a reason why we're here. There's a reason why we were born. There's a reason why this book is here. There's a reason why there's many other books. It's for us to think. It's for us to realize that there's a different source, that there's something bigger than us, that we are connected as one. Jesus says, all that I do, you can do as well. And what could Jesus could do all that God could do, except for, create the whole universe and stuff like this. Sorry, my dog's just going crazy. God created the universe. God created first man and all this. But Jesus literally said, as my Father do, I do. And as I do, you do. And you can do greater than I, he even said. Like I said, it's something that you just have to go through yourself, maybe, and you have to read for yourself, because the first few months you're not gonna maybe really understand, but that's okay, because it's still a journey. So once you start to really start picking up this wisdom and go deeper and deeper into the Old Testament, because I advise you not to shoot just to the New Testament like everybody does, but actually read it from cover to cover. It's a meditation, You know, it's supposed to, some as weird as it is, some paragraphs are supposed to make you think while you're reading. It's not supposed to be digested all the way. Some things are meant for you to be thinking while you're reading, because not everything in the book matters for you right now. And that's kind of weird for people to realize, but you can of course go and reread the paragraph if you want to, but sometimes when you're reading and your mind drifts off to a different place, that's what the book is for. At that moment, the book was for you to drift off to that place and think like that. Think of that. Sometimes we have the most profound moments when we're reading. So imagine the profound moments you're going to have when you're reading the holy book, whether it is the Bible or the Quran or the, Torah or the Bhagavad Gita or whatever you want to read. But I would definitely suggest reading a basics first. Basic instructions before leaving Earth. That's the Bible, basic instructions before leaving Earth. Get you a basics first. Because I feel like it's a great foundation. And then you can go to the, Quran and the Torah and stuff like this. But from what I've heard from the Quran, at least, it's a little harsher than this, the Bible. This is more of a lot of people's stories of sorrow and inspiration. And then from the Quran, it's more of Muhammad's point of view from what I understand. But like I said, I'm still going to read it because I'm very interested and I'm sure there's very much divine truth in there. But do your own research. It's going to only take you further in your spiritual development and your spiritual growth. And of course, self-help books are amazing, but read some spiritual books. And I highly recommend the Bible as a start. So, one love. If you haven't, please subscribe, like, share, comment. And I hope you have a blessed day. Ja.